Welcome back to Ina Bear Farm. Today we're going to talk a little bit about big pests, in our case wild pigs, and the damage they do and how we design around it, think about it, and deal with it. So everywhere you are, you probably have some form of big pests. I know we had deer when we were in Maryland that can just do a lot of damage in a really short amount of time. It would eat entire trees down to a nub. And here we have pigs that they're wild, feral. They roam around the Big Island. They dig. And so that's what we're looking at right here. This really messy area was very tidy. A couple weeks back, we had made 2 berms following mostly on contour here, where we had done it in a Permaculture style, where we buried this wood underneath and piled up soil and straw on top of that. And it was looking really good, and I knew I'm going to wait to do any planting to see what the pigs do. And of course, within a day or two, they came and tore it up. Another thing in this area, you can see, if you've seen our previous videos, you've seen our little like barbed wire stations around our tiny trees. I had a katuk seedling here that was a few inches tall. They came and flipped over this rock right on top and smashed it. It's still there, and it actually is growing back. It's a pretty tough plant, so we're excited about that. But all of our plants, we put some kind of defense around. So like here, I call it the Fortress of Tea. This is a tea plant, kind of traditional Chinese tea plant. And we've got part of a tomato cage that's buried down in the ground with barbed wire around it. Just that says like, hey, you know what, dig somewhere else. Because this area around our trees where we do the heavy mulching and where we've dug up the guinea grass, it's really rich in organic material. It draws in a lot of bugs, and that attracts the pigs. They come and they want to eat at it. And so before we talk a little bit more about how we deal with pigs and how we think about it, I'm going to show you a quick little clip. I caught the pigs on tape this morning on video. And so yeah, I'll just kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about for those of you that don't live in Hawaii. So check this out and we'll be right back with more. So even though in that video they may look pretty calm and even cute, perhaps, within one night they can do a ton of damage. And they do typically come out in the middle of the night. This one pig that was doing most of the damage here in our blossoming food forest was coming out often between 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning, making it even harder to stop because I would sleep through it most of the time and wake up to disaster in the morning. And then one night they can undo a lot of the work that you did or destroy a lot of work and time and money that you've put into it. And so, you know, with permaculture, we always try to think about working with nature as opposed to working against it. There are ways to incorporate animals, obviously, into your systems that can be really good, but even feral animals. Here on the Big Island, a lot of folks do eat the pigs. It's part of their diet. I have health issues that make it so that I cannot eat meat. So that's not really a possibility for me. And that makes it even harder to try to incorporate an animal like that into my system. And so what we've really done is just look mostly at a zone of exclusion. We really just want them to stay away from our young seedlings. And so I could go and put a, like a little barrier around every single seedling plant as I put it in, but that would be a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of work. So I opted rather to just fence in the entire, well, the majority of the pasture to food forest project. And so I'll flip the camera around and show you the fencing that we're talking about here. So this is the specific type of fencing that you have to look at for excluding something like wild pigs. We had the barbed wire, and that'll keep cows in or out depending on, and horses, what you're trying to do. But what you need for pigs is this hog wire, hog panel, field fence, comes by all different names, galvanized, farm fencing. And the gaps get smaller as you go down for the younger and smaller animals. And so what we've done is kind of studied their movements over several nights by setting up little areas that they would have to track through. And then by figuring out what their patterns were, we just put fencing in areas that would stop their flow, interrupt their flow. And it took a while. It took a good week or so. But ever since figuring it all out, we have not had a pig come into the pasture for about a week now. So fingers crossed that we have solved the pest problem by exclusion for now. But one thing I know from experience with any pest is that you can never rest easy. You can never get complacent. And so we've got this fencing up, and then we're coming behind it and putting in some living fence plants. So like here we've got Mexican sunflower. There's another Mexican sunflower there. This is some kind of super thorny citrus tree that I had to relocate from another area. So I'm like, oh, big scary thorns. I'll put that right up against the fence. We'll continue to plop in Gliricidia, the Madre de Cacao, the more Mexican sunflower. Might put in some of the tea plants like we do around our garden. Some other just fast growing woody material that we can keep fairly pruned, because we don't want, this is our southern exposure uphill, so we don't want a ton of light blocked coming down into our food forest project. But we do want to really shore up that fence. And the guinea grass will do it to some degree. So we'll let that grow in where it wants to grow in pretty thick. But over time, we'll be looking to put in more and more trees for a living fence to just reinforce that. And that way, one day, and it won't take too long, this fence will rust out and start to give away. In Hawaii, it doesn't take long for metal to rust. So we'd love to have that living fence, really robust and protective by the time this fence gives out. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll keep you guys updated. Soon we'll have a full food forest tour update to show you how everything is growing out here. We're having a lot of fun. It's a gorgeous day, last day of May. And so if you found this interesting, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. Definitely let us know in the comments if you've had any good luck with any particular methods getting rid of pigs or keeping them away or anything along those lines. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you next time here at Aina Bear Farm. Aloha.